Hello dear students, welcome to our new video lecture. In this video, we are going to study the basic anatomical terminologies, different directional terms, planes, section and body cavities. So let's start the session. First, basic anatomical terminologies. The body, in this we are going to study the body positions. So body position, in the anatomical position, the body is upright. The feet are flat on the floor and directed forward, and the upper limbs are at the side of the palms, side with the palms and turned forward. Okay. Now there are two body positions. First is the prone and second is the supine, or you can say supine. Okay. Prone and supine. Prone means what? The body is lying and face is down. You can see here, prone position, the body is lying on the floor and facing towards the floor. That means facing down the floor. Okay. And supine position means what? Body is lying and face is up. You can see here, supine position, body is lying on the floor and face is up towards the roof. Okay. Now directional terms. Now to locate various body structures, anatomists use specific directional terms, words that describe the position of one body part relative to another. Okay. So these are the terms given by the anatomist to identify different structures of the body. Okay. So they are known as the directional terms. So most of the directional terms used have opposite meaning. Okay, you can see in the chart. Okay, there are various directional terms given by the anatomist. First is the ventral. Ventral means what? Towards the belly. Ventral you can remember in front of. Okay. Then second, dorsal. Dorsal towards the back. You can remember D and B. Okay, D and B. Dorsal towards the back. Rostral means towards the nose. Rostral means towards nose. Then caudal. Caudal towards the tail. Then superior, towards top of the head. Superior you can remember on the above section, towards the top section of head or body. Then lateral, away from the middle. Lateral means away from the middle. If suppose this is the midline of the body, okay, then away from the middle is the lateral. Okay. Then medial means middle, towards middle. Bilateral, on the both sides. On the both sides means bilateral. Ipsilateral, on the same side. Then contralateral means opposite side. Okay, contra means opposite. Okay. First is ventral, means in front of or towards the belly. Dorsal, to the back. Then rostral, toward the nose. Then caudal, toward tail. Superior, top of the head. Then lateral, away from the middle. Middle, towards the middle. Medial, towards the middle. Bilateral, both sides. Ipsilateral, on the same side. And contralateral means on the opposite side. Okay, you can see in the diagram, superior is towards the, is top of the head. Dorsal to the back and ventral in front of. Okay, anterior and ventral. Ventral and anterior you can remember, and dorsal and posterior. Okay. Then planes. Planes are the imaginary flat surfaces that pass through the body. These are the imaginary surfaces that passes through the body parts. Okay. There are four types of planes. First is the sagittal plane, second frontal plane, third transverse plane, and fourth oblique plane. Sagittal, then frontal, transverse and oblique. Now sagittal means it is the plane which is passing through the body and dividing the body into right and left section. Okay, this is the sagittal. Now there are two types of sagittal plane. First is the mid sagittal and second is the parasagittal. Okay, mid sagittal and parasagittal. Mid sagittal means what? The plane which passes through the midline of the body. Okay, which passes through the midline of the body and divides into equal right and left sides, then it is called as mid sagittal. Whereas the parasagittal, it does not pass through the midline. It can pass on either side of the midline, right? And it will cut the body section into right and left sides, but in unequal sizes. Okay, so parasagittal does not pass through the midline, whereas mid sagittal passes through the midline. Okay, you can see the sagittal plane. The plane is passing through the midline of the body, right? Okay, then next, frontal plane, frontal or coronal plane. So it divides the body or an organ into anterior, front and posterior back part. Okay, hence it is called as frontal, because it is dividing the body into front and back part. Then transverse plane, it is also called as horizontal plane, cross sectional plane. Okay, transverse also called as horizontal or cross sectional. It divides body or an organ into superior, upper. Superior means what? Upper, and inferior means what? Lower portion. As it is horizontal, it will divide the body into upper and lower direction. So sagittal, frontal and transverse planes are all right angle to one another. Okay, then oblique plane is not right angle. It passes through the body or an organ at an angle between a transverse plane and a sagittal plane, or between transverse plane and a frontal plane. You can see different planes. First is the mid sagittal plane, which passes through the midline of the body and which divides the body in equal right and left section. Okay, the frontal plane or the coronal plane divides the body in front and back section. Okay, transverse plane, it is the horizontal plane which divides the body in top and bottom section. Okay, and oblique plane, it may cross through any of the given previous planes. Okay, then sections. Section, it is a cut. Section is nothing but the cut of the body or organs made along one of the planes. Okay, there are four planes, but there only three sections are present. First is transverse section, then frontal section and mid sagittal section. Okay, transverse section, it is formed by a transverse plane cutting through an object. Okay, transverse plane, it is the horizontal plane. It cuts the body in up and top and bottom position, right? So transverse section is formed due to the transverse plane. Okay, then frontal section, it cuts the body in frontal plane, cutting the body in frontal plane, and it will divide the body in ventral and dorsal part. Okay, then mid sagittal section, it will cut the body in right and left part. Okay, you can see in the diagram. First is the transverse plane. It cut the body in top and bottom parts, right? Then this is the frontal plane, divides the body in frontal and dorsal parts. Then mid sagittal, it divides the body in right and left part. Okay, then last part of this presentation is the body cavities. Now there are the spaces. These are the body cavities, are nothing but the spaces within the body that help to protect, separate and support the internal organs. Okay, so there are two types of body cavities present. First is the dorsal body cavity and second is the ventral body cavity. Okay, dorsal body cavity, it is located near the dorsal surface of the body, and it consists of two cavities, cranial cavity and vertebral cavity. Now you can imagine what is cranial and what is vertebral. Cranial cavity contains cranium, means brain, and vertebral cavity contains vertebral column. Okay,